عالم الهوايات بأسعار الجملة تشتري خامات مضمونة ومواصفات عالمية.
I just wanted to make a quick video today about our monthly product focus, which is our Stoneware gloss glazes. And I wanted to come in and talk about our Stoneware gloss glazes and kind of do a compare and contrast with our Stroke and Coat glazes. So it might be a little bit confusing because, as you know, our Stroke and Coats are recommended to go up to cone 6 and even cone 10. So a lot of people might be wondering why someone would choose Stoneware gloss glazes for design work or for using at cone 6 instead of Stroke and Coats. So I'm not trying to convince you of one or the other, but I would like to showcase what they're best utilized for at cone 6 temperatures so that you guys can make your best buying decisions and be the most successful in the work that you're making with our products. So to start here, I used a very comparable color here for each one that I'm focusing on. So here we've got our bright blue gloss, and here we have our Stroke and Coat Blue Yonder. So these fire almost identical with their color, so that's a really nice comparison to do. I'm just going to go over these test tiles on this video just to showcase how each of these products perform at cone 6 temperatures in different situations, and that's really the primary reason that I did the video here today. Here we have our Stoneware gloss palette, just so you can see the colors that are available, and as we have posted earlier in the month, they are intermixable. So here I've got probably my favorite line blend using these products. So we have the yellow gloss and the blue gloss, and here we've got everything in between. So I know it's hard to see here with the reflection, but these are just such pretty colors with the in-betweens here, or with the glare, I guess. So yeah, so each of these are just different steps moving between these two colors. So they do work really well being mixed together to kind of expand this 10 color palette. So yeah, so let's just get into it. So here I'm gonna go over how Stroke and Coat performs first. So I did the same exact thing on each of these tiles, but just for clarity's sake, I'm gonna go over them individually and then I'll show them both together. So here we have Blue Yonder over, first we have Cottontail, and then we have white gloss. So as you can see here, when you add Stroke and Coat over Stroke and Coat, there is going to be a bit of mobility created here. And here we've got some modeling. You can kind of see the different kind of color variation that happens throughout here, and that's due to the fact that both of these products are being overfired essentially. So they're going to start kind of melting together and into one another. So if I do a base coat of Stroke and Coat and then put Stroke and Coat on top of it, I can expect a bit of mobility and even a little bit of interaction between the glazes here. So I have 1, 2, and 3 coats here. So you can see that there is downward melt because the bottom of all of these brush strokes have a higher concentration of pigment. And you can even see here in this textured area how this glaze starts to melt down. It's breaking over the texture, but not only that, it's also melting downwards. So layering Stroke and Coat over Stroke and Coat at cone 6 may not be the best for crisp design details. It might be better for, you know, adding some color variation or little pops of color and glaze combinations or something like that. So that might be a good application for Stroke and Coat over Stroke and Coat at cone 6. And here we have Stroke and Coat over our white gloss. So as you can see, it is much more stable when it's over a stable glaze. So it does look like it might have like moved a little bit, like there is this higher concentration of product here, but not to the point that it broke out of the shape of this brush stroke. So we've got 1, 2, 3 coats again. Never super opaque coverage on either of these, but this one does stay where you put it a bit better than this one does. So stroke coat over white gloss for design work, maybe? Definitely a possibility. It's not going to guarantee failure if you're looking for really, really crisp lines. It is still going to break over texture. The stroke coat's not going to be completely opaque at cone 6, just because you are overfiring it a bit. There's always going to be some translucency. Some glazes, some colors are definitely going to appear more opaque than others, but a lot of the time over texture you're going to end up getting a bit of breaking. So that is, we'll just do the front of the tiles first. So here, that's stroke and coat over both of these. And then we'll go here and do the blue gloss over both of these. So here I've got blue gloss over Cottontail and blue gloss over white gloss. So you can see here the Cottontail is definitely influencing the appearance of this more. It's not necessarily creating movement, but it is creating some modeling and a bit of color variation. So again, 1, 2, 3 coats. You're getting a lot more opacity with the blue gloss or bright blue gloss at cone 6. But you are still getting the interaction with the Cottontail since it's on something that's being overfired. And on the right here, we have blue gloss over white gloss. So here we have, it's pretty opaque. It is breaking a bit over the texture, but nothing too crazy. And then we've got 1, 2, 3 coats. No movement, really, literally at all. There's no modeling or anything here. And then you are building opacity with 1, 2, and 3 coats. So the bright blue gloss over white gloss is very, very stable, and you're going to build up your color concentration really well with those. So here we've got our blue gloss and then our blue yonder here. Just so you can kind of see the comparison of all of them together. And then I'll go to the backs of these, because on the backs of these tiles, I'm showcasing the product directly on the bisque, and then also how it performs with the clear glaze over top of it. So we'll flip over to the backs of our tiles here. So here we have our stroke and coat. This just has Sunkissed and Tuxedo. And on one half of this tile I have a clear glaze, and on the other half I do not. So it's probably pretty obvious what half has the clear glaze. But just a nice zoom in here. We're going to showcase this without the clear glaze. Again, stroke and coat over stroke and coat. We are getting a little bit of that modeling or bleeding out that happens when you fire stroke and coat to cone 6. So again, layering stroke and coat over stroke and coat's not necessarily going to be the best way to create crisp details. It is a great way to add color to a piece. Stroke and coat directly on the bisque, it did not move at all. So if you have stroke and coats and want to do design work directly on the bisque without a clear glaze, it is not going to move. Again, or if you have it on something else that's very stable, like we showcased here, with the gloss glaze. So very stable, and it stays where it goes. But layering it with other things, you are going to have a little bit of bleeding here. And then here with the clear glaze, as you can see, it melted down a lot more when we put a clear glaze over top of these stroke and coats. And that definitely makes sense if you really think about it. The stroke and coat has a fluxing agent in it that's melting on its own. So you're adding something that's more flux, more melting, and giving the stroke and coat something to move into. That's going to create a lot more mobility. And we even had a bit of some color reaction here. So we've got some brown coming out of the tuxedo, and then the the clear glaze did wash out the stroke and coat a bit on this side here. All right, and then to compare that, we have our Stoneware gloss glazes. So here we have half of this with a clear glaze and half of it without. It's probably a bit different or a bit more difficult to tell with this one because the clear glaze works really well over the Stoneware gloss glazes. So here we got Stoneware gloss just right on the bisque, really nice and stable, and then the Stoneware gloss with a clear glaze over it. I think you can maybe see a little bit of kind of feathering going on here outside of here, but it's very subtle when you put a clear glaze. So I put 2 coats of clear glaze on both of these tiles, and this is still remaining very stable. The color's not changing or anything like that. So that's how this performs on its own, and then as well as under a clear glaze. So here we have both of them right next to each other, just so you guys can have a good side by side. Make sure this is focusing. So we've got our nice side by side of these. As far as different attributes of the glaze go, these are going to be really similar in performance, as in they're going to have a glossy finish. They're highly opaque products. They are dinnerware safe, non-toxic. They're really easy, straightforward products to be using, but it's definitely good to know how they perform, especially bringing stroke and coat outside of the intended firing range. So again, it's made for cone 06. We do promote and encourage you to use it at higher temperatures, but just want you to really know what you're getting yourself into with that. And we have had some people comment about our gloss glazes coming out with a matte finish. And most of the time when I see that, it's when they are fired to cone 5. So if you are firing to cone 5 and you are not getting a high gloss finish out of these, maybe try doing a cone 6, adding a little bit more of a hold onto your cone 5, seeing if you can get that cone 6 cone to bend down. And if you're still having issues with the finish on some of these, then definitely contact our technical team. I will link that in the description for this video. And yeah, we would definitely love to hear of any issues you have, or if you have any questions or anything like that, please drop it in the comments. I love to help you guys out and kind of learn about how you're using our products and what you need from us. So thanks so much for tuning in today with this video, and I really hope that you all found it helpful. Like I said, let us know what you think in the comments, and as always, make it Mako.
عالم الهوايات بأسعار الجملة، تشتري خامات مضمونة ومواصفات عالمية.